Hi guys, it is Jeremy again, and I am back to do a unexpected video. As you can tell, I have not shaved like I normally do when I make my videos. My hair isn't done, all nice for you guys. My room's a mess and everything, but after reading this, I kind of want to talk about it because I'm kind of dumbfounded by this whole thing, and I want to discuss it with you. So, I'm on a website just talking to people, and somebody had sent me a link to this saying, dude, you need to read this crap. And I read it, and it is every way absurd in every possible way. These people are just grasping at straws because this is so far-fetched and everything. So basically, it is a site that is called Bird Law, which is, I guess, like a fan, like you can create your like own fan site. It's like a blog in a lot of ways, so yeah, it is a blog. And they were talking, so this entire video is talking about supposed racism in the Twilight series. I've read these books. I mean, granted, it's been about a decade since I've read these books. Besides this one, I actually reread this in 2016. But I'm like, are you serious? Are you serious? So I'm actually going to read out loud in this video a few of these, and I might make this like a two-parter because I don't know how long this is going to be. So I'm going to just read it to you, and let's see what we make of it. Number 1. Native Americans as animals and stereotypes. In the Twilight series, all but 2 native characters discussed are or were at some point werewolves. This broad sweep of characterization relies heavy on the stereotypes that native people are savages, animals, bloodthirsty, warriors, and extremely dangerous. Native characters are often called dogs and mongrels, within several of the books dehumanizing them more than they already have been. They are related to subhuman half-breeds fighting the supposed inferior white vampires. Not only are the native characters treated as marginalized and inferior, but Meyer also relies heavily on old-age racial stereotypes of Native Americans, the imagery of the bloodthirsty warrior, the noble savage, and the aesthetic elder are played out repeatedly throughout the series. These sweeping generalizations keep native characters trapped in a stereotyped past with no chance to claim morality or voice the inaccuracy in Meyer's writings. The representation of stereotypes is dangerous, even more so when considering the youth of the audience that has been eating up the ridiculous franchise. That is the first part of this. And are you incompetent to not know and to not know what you're even reading? They're werewolves. Werewolves are often known as dogs, mongrels, and animals. You turn into a fucking animal. As you can tell, probably, this is completely absurd in every stretch of the imagination, because how badly do you hate Twilight that you're literally going to read this and think that this is racism? This is not racism. It's a fucking book. Most of the characters in the Twilight series are white, and when a white person is turned into a vampire, they're even more fucking pale. There is people of color in the Twilight series. When they are turned, they're paler, but they're not like, except for the only change from that is Laurent was white in the books, to my personal knowledge, and he's black in the films, which I had no problem. I think Eddie Cathegi is a fantastic actor. Anyway, but this whole idea that these people actually fucking believe this garbage, it's just completely absurd, and I'm literally flabbergasted at this whole thing, and we're gonna keep reading because it only gets better, right? Yeah, it only gets better. Number 2, Meyer's obsession with white skin. Meyer's writing is rife with her obvious obsession with pale white skin in her idolized of her vampire lover boy, creepy stalker Edward's pale skin. She creates a black versus white binary between the beautiful white vampires and the dangerous russet-colored Native Americans. I made an attempt to count how many instances Meyer uses russet-colored to describe the native characters, but I lost count after 50. It was that often her single-noted descriptions of native skin color, again, marginalizes them as being exactly the same as one another. A heavy generalization that all native people look alike, taking away individual variation, removes the human element, further dehumanizing the characters. This is just another aspect that these people are really grasping at straws to look at this. They're looking at this like everything is a racial issue. There's not racism in these books. It's absolutely absurd to even throw that into an accusation. The only thing I will say about these articles is they are written very well. And to me, looking back at the russet colored as a way to describe them, maybe that's just a general way to describe something. Maybe that's when Stephanie was writing these books, that's what made sense to her, and that's, you put that, and you generally have a pretty good idea of what russet color looks like. And then you scroll down a little bit, and it shows a New Moon poster from the New Moon movie with all of the wolf pack, and then it says in a very small letter, says apparently the movie producers had the same idea. And by the way, this is the only person, actually I think these are a group of people writing this, these are the only people that actually believe this crap. So I'm going to be reading the third paragraph now. Once again, it's fairly short. Number 3, Native men are highly sexualized and depicted as sexual predators of white women. The character of Jacob Black and how Meyer characterizes him throughout the series is very telling and informative on the racism within Twilight. Perpetually stuck in the friend zone by the protagonist Bella, literally when I hemmed, that's part of it, I recognize to call her a protagonist, and that is another story. Jacob spends all his time, human and werewolf, trying to help or protect Bella. Meyer writes Jacob not as the Tonto of contemporary entertainment media, but she also depicts him as a sexual predator. Within the series, Jacob forces himself on Bella twice. Fair point there. He does force himself on there, but later realizes that he needs to back off, and he realizes he made a mistake. I mean, yeah, so his sexualized nature is at a high contrast to the 117-year-old virgin Edward, and consequently sets up native men as sexual aggressors chasing after clumsy white girls threatening white relationships. Oh my god, I can't take this shit seriously if I tried. The films take the sexualization to a whole new level. The native men are constantly scans. Sure, that doesn't make any sense. The bare-chested monologue is a heavy of nippling abs and man nipples, and further we have another New Moon poster with Jacob in his human form without his shirt on, and then once again in a small form that says man nipples. Now, this poses a question: was the werewolf pack in the Twilight series, was this made to be sexualized? Maybe because in all the Twilight books, especially in New Moon and Eclipse, when, you know, the werewolves have a pretty big part, but let's mainly talk about New Moon. From what I remember in the books, they wear cut-off jean shorts and no shirt. They're fucking werewolves, so they don't wear a lot of clothes because they hunt vampires in the fucking area. This is not just something that they're doing to sexualize. It was in the books. It's how they were created as characters. And the fact that people are throwing this in there, trying to force racism on something that isn't fucking racist, is a very poor and very weak argument. Like, that whole paragraph is just absurd. We're gonna go on to the next one because, once again, it's just gonna get better. It's like, it's so pathetic. It is so pathetic that these are not even well thought out. Like, they're just very easily put in there, and they're very easily rebutted as well. The same paragraph actually continues. So, Meyer relies on native characters only as a technique to strengthen the white character's relationship. Really? Are you serious? Jacob is a luring threat to the relationship? A threat. I wouldn't say that. And to Bella, specifically, as a white woman. That said, the books also portray Native men as predators of domestic violence and abuse. Oh my god. The character of Emily, a minor character who was mauled by her fiancé werewolf, it is a disturbing normalization of domestic abuse in a native community that Meyer chooses to include. No. When Sam was in his werewolf form, she got a little too close and she was attacked by accident. Because wolves very rarely have full control of what they're doing, accidents happen. Duh. Throughout the series, Jacob describes himself as dangerous and unable to control his emotions due to his transformed DNA. There you go. Emotions have a huge part of when a werewolf phases. And that he could hurt Bella at any moment if he got angry, and that's why, and that's what happened with Emily. Sam got really angry, and she got hurt because of that. This implies that domestic abuse is inherent within Native men and perpetuates the stereotype that they are dangerous and threatening, and in turn silences Native women. Native women are the most likely women in the U.S. to experience domestic abuse, and Meyer's normalization of that is not accepting. Meyer's description of Native men particularly relies of her characterizations of old men stereotypes and fears once again allying that Twilight is racist. Finally, Native American culture is appropriated throughout Twilight and does not offer Native communities a chance to reclaim their culture, traditions, particularly the very old Quileute tribes of Washington that the werewolves are based on. All these lofty words and thoughts aside, it is very easy to see why this god-awful series can be pegged as racist. Meyer likely stands behind a defense of claiming she was honoring the Native American characters, their culture, but sadly she comes up with much short on that. All the Native characters are locked in old age stereotypes that Meyer uses as a plot device to develop probably the worst love story ever found in literature. You scroll down, there's a couple more pictures, and we will continue. We're gonna keep going here. Regardless of Meyer's horrible writing, her representation of Native Americans relied too heavily on stereotypes, the exfoliation of their russet-colored skin, and the threat of Jacob separating the two male lovebirds that are Edward and Bella. Meyer obviously writes these stories with her in place of Bella, so it's pretty hilarious to see that ridiculous insecurities this woman has. Stephenie Meyer did not do a self-insert, so she can self-insert herself into her own characters. Are you fucking kidding me with that shit? But I'll leave that for someone else to analyze. For now, I'll leave it at this. Twilight is blatantly racist, and almost nobody seems to notice. That's because it's not. Oh, no, you didn't see that? I'm so sorry, you're stupid. Also, definitely check out articles on blah 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 and their thoughts on racism and Twilight. That's all for now, folks. I'll post another one of these in a month. So this is a continuous series that is on this. This one's the only one I can seem to find, so it's a little bit weird. But that's basically what this is. This is basically them being whatever butthurt, whatever, just trying really pathetically to find find their reasons as to why Twilight and the whole series seems to be racist with Native American characters. If this series truly was racist against Native American people, their culture, and them as people, there would be a lot more than one person or people who have written this, whoever, because it sounds like several people have written this. If this was a true fact, then there would be more than one person that has said this. This is literally the only time I've ever heard someone say this, so this sounds more like an opinion than an actual fact. So that's this late video. Let me know what you think of this discussion. I will have this webpage linked in the description if you want to read it for yourself. I'd love to debate with you because I'm always open for that, and I always want to, do different type of videos, and it's kind of been a while since I've done a Twilight-related video. So, yeah, I'll talk to you guys soon. You guys have a good night.